site. They sometimes have it under procurement or acquisition, and you can look for the opportunities. But I wouldn't strictly go by code. I would put in keyword because you have a unique business.
Thank you so much for that advice. I appreciate it.
And I was going to say also that, the government oftentimes has excess equipment and trucks and things like that. And, and you can go on and, there's sites that, they've contracted with companies to sell this excess equipment because it may very well allow you to get a piece of equipment that'll get you started. You may not be able to do large capacity, but because the equipment is older, but it can get you started, to generate revenue and maybe be able to increase, as well as loans. There's always loans.
Yeah, loans, and then also leasing. Some companies out the property, but also there are loans. Specifically, I would look into micro loans and micro loan and community advantage through the SBA, because there are certain loan programs that are for targeted groups and they're non-traditional lending practices, and the loan products are customized for these types of situations and customers.
And please forgive me, LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, YouTube. I was muted all this time talking on LinkedIn audio, so apologize. You can either join us on LinkedIn audio, but we are talking about partnering and teaming and subcontracting and how it can increase your capacity and capability. But we just had a question from Lakiba, who wants to start a records management and shredding company, and she was asking about how to get started and how to get information on whether grants or whatever. And our amazing panelists, Lori Smith, Travis Davis, Shenell Glover, Coach Sean Austin are here. Please follow them on LinkedIn. You'll see them in the post. And I do want to say thank you again, and I hope it won't be the last time you come, Lakiba. Is this your first time?
It is. It definitely will not be my last time. I appreciate all the advice and the information. It's been very helpful.
Perfect. Well, we got a lady that don't miss. Hey, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I want to give her one other thing. Sorry about that.
Sure.
Cell tower's been weird around here with the storm that just came through Houston. So
oh, y'all okay?
Yeah, we're fine. It's just the cell in the office power went out. We're in the middle of closing an acquisition, so staff had to call me. So really weird. Benny, what's up, guy? But I know him from Clubhouse. He's a good guy. So I want to give Miss Lakiba a site that's in Georgia. I don't know if you bought your vehicle yet, but the Georgia auctions, what Michelle was speaking about, they have a ton of those for government vehicles, seizures, whatever. I can send it to you in the back channel through LinkedIn, but it's DOAS.ga.gov, and there's tons of things. Every state has their own government auction sites. You can find a lot of things there for little to nothing. And it's a little bit of a process, but it's not bad. But those auctions are pretty cool. And it's Georgia, DOAS.ga.gov. I'll put the link in the email back to you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate the advice.
And also, the federal government, to piggyback what Coach said, the federal government has multiple agencies. Like Michelle said, you can go to the VA, USDA, GSA. They also have surplus property the same way.
Yeah, so I'd like to get the VA, a contract with the VA to do their shredding services. And also this business not just offers shredding, but it also offers an opportunity to store shredding bins monthly. So you get revenue from that, and then you get revenue from when you pick it up. Then you get revenue from when you sell the paper to a recycling company.
Wow.
So
Lakiba, the first thing I would tell you, if VA is one of your target clients, you need to partner with a service disabled veteran owned business, because we buy in a tiered manner. First, service disabled is a tier 1, veteran owned is tier 2, minority and hub zone are tier 3, woman owned is tier 4, and then all small and then large. That's the way we buy. Now I know there's some exceptions. We don't buy everything that way, but we buy a lot that way. So, one of the opportunities might be to find a veteran owned business to partner or sub with.
Go ahead, Lord.
If I may, if you're trying to do shredding or anything in that arena with any government entity, one, you want to identify and determine who the government already have those types of contracts with, because those are very large contracts, and then they do those contracts over, they go past the 5-year time frame. So the government is doing contracting differently. So you need to know, again, the culture and the nature of how they buy certain things, but then also look at that frequency. So to Coach Davis's point earlier, knowing a pipeline, having a pipeline, a component of your pipeline is going out there and identifying, what do the government have need of that you have to offer? And then if they already have fulfilled those needs, when does those expire? So even if you go simply to USA.gov, they're going to let you know who they issued those contracts to. If you run it by that NAICS code, you can find out award information through the Federal Procurement Data System at FPDS-NG. And you can also find out award information out there on SAM.gov, but you need to find out who they've already given those contracts to. Then you need to reach out to them potentially for a sub opportunity, because a lot of times, even those contractors, some may be small, but most of them are large contractors. And so what you want to do is make sure that they have an established and a ready, steady subcontracting pipeline that they can engage to do business with. Sometimes we make the assumption because a large contractor potentially had a subcontracting relationship with someone else that's long-term, and it may not be the case. So you want to offer your services to someone that potentially is already in the space, and that's how you're able to get into the space under somebody else's dime, so that people can watch you and know that you can and have the capabilities, so with hopes that they will give you an opportunity in the future. But those type of contracts, are they out there? Yes, they are. But the government tend to leverage those from a strategic enterprise perspective. So they typically going to go real large, because the scanning, the storage, and all of that is a component of that. And so you want to find out who's already got the contracts and potentially work and negotiate that way. Yes, so I'm aware, not fully aware, but I know the two biggest shredding companies, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. But I do know one of them was just bought out. So I felt like, hey, it's a perfect opportunity for me to try to get in. But you're absolutely right, Lori. They do contract out to the bigger companies, the ones that have have the inventory. They have the warehouses in every state. That's typically where.
Yep. Well, thank you, Lakiba. Thank you, Lori, for that on point response. And just know, if you know that's how Lakiba, and this is applicable to everybody, knowing how they buy is important. And don't think you're going to go in and tell them to buy differently and that you're so special that the government is going to change the way they buy whatever you're selling to get to you. That is a rare thing. So, the thing to look at is, can I do it? Can I get to a university? Can I get to, the transit authority locally? Can I get to some smaller accounts, whether it's state, local, and still do it, and where they buy in a way that allows them to get direct access to me. So I just want to throw that out. Who we got next? I think we got Jennifer. You were here, and then I'm coming to you, gentlemen, Benny and Julian.
Hi, what great information. So thank you, everyone. When you mentioned
would you tell us who you are, what you do first, so we know in context to how to answer your question? No worries.
My name is Jennifer Thurston. I am an Army veteran. I was green to gold. So I was pre 9/11 in the 80s and then post 9/11. So it's kind of interesting. And so I'm at American University right now, getting my MFA in film and media arts. But when I was serving, I worked both as a casualty notification and assistance officer and ended up in a warrior transition unit. So being that I'm a female disabled veteran, I've heard a lot about the 8A, but I don't know the requirements to get in. So you had mentioned that, and then also whether I want to hold the contract or whether I want to give it to someone and be a sub.
Can you tell us you want a full master class in?
I do.
Yeah, girl, you got to come back every week as a master class. But we.
This is my first time, so I'm like, I want it all.
No, look. We gotta drip it to you, girl. You gotta come back. It's gonna drip. You're gonna get it.
But did say not to give me all the information at once because then I won't need to come back, right?
Yeah, well, no, but that's not. If we were earlier in the show, I would say, we probably would answer. But let me just take the 8A off the conversation, okay?
Okay.
Because 8A is a business development strategy. It's not doesn't happen at the beginning of your business. It should happen. Let me just say, when people say, "Oh, I want to get my 8A," and I go, "Why?" And they generally don't have an answer, right?
Oh, well, my why is it's the foot in the door.
No, it's not.
Well, that's what I've been told is the reason that it exists.
No, ma'am. Okay. It is a business development strategy. What gets you in the door is your value. What are you selling to me that I need in a way that's faster, cheaper, better? And that's why a lot of 8A companies fail, is because they do not go in with a strategy, and an 8A is not a startup strategy.
Sure. Well, okay. These are all things. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't coming from that angle, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. That's why I said, let's take that off the table. So you're because you want to be established, because if you have here's what people do. They go and get an 8A, and then they don't have the relationships. They don't have the relationships for somebody to come to them to buy from them. They're not known for a particular product or service. They just have the certification, and you only have 9 years, 8-9 years. So if you're clicking your years based on trying to build your relationship and trying to figure out what you're doing, before you know it, you got 4 years left. You understand? That's why I said, go ahead, jump in.
So I would add, and again, it's thank you for your service, Jennifer, and I love your bio and where you're headed and where you've been, right? So what I've seen, and I run a business development firm, so we deal with a lot of 8A corps companies, and when you see how our brand moves, I would say it is a business development, and I wish it would almost add a pre-existing at scale business development in a program. Because once you hit it, it's like you've seen Fast and Furious, right? And they hit that non-tank switch, and it goes. If the business hasn't hit a certain level of scale, meaning you've got systems in place, you've got employees, and you've run through a couple WOSB, veteran-owned certified projects, going through the project, exited that project, and you've got an established net profit margin consistently across the board. You've got vertical and horizontal business partnerships. Now you've got to say, you know what? I know government well on that side and this side. I've scaled my business from say $500,000 to about maybe 10 or 15 million. I'm at the middle upper part of my NAICS code threshold as far as revenue is concerned. Employees, I've hit whatever number. Now you know what? I'm kind of exhausted where I'm at with my WOSB and my veteran certs. Now it's time to go ahead and hit that non-tank. Where, okay, 8A, let's go. And when they give you that 8A contract or partnership, whatever that NAICS that you're in, now you can take those systems you have and totally scale, because there's nothing that you would be quote unquote missing at that point. Now you can fully take on what 8A will be offering you. Definitely not as a startup, because it could almost kill you.
Right.
It like the success of it will just drown you. But if you have those systems that exhaust where you're at, especially being a veteran, especially being in those particular areas, what I've seen in 17 and a half years with this thing, especially on the tail end of my consulting career, you will get the most out of it, and it's a legacy play. So at the end, instead of really hitting tailwind at year 5 or 6, you'd hit it with the first contract out the gate, and then you can really grow from there. So that would be my little piece, just from the inside, from my perspective on this is a thought, because people do pitch it a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think I really kind of exhausted. I'm playing here, but they push 8A way too fast. I get it, but I can't say too much on the stage. But it's I wish they wouldn't, and I wish they almost had a pre-8A before they put people in 8A, if you will, which is what Bank Ready feel for. But that's neither here nor there. But take that grain of salt, and hopefully that advice was able to give you guys.
It was helpful. Thank you so much. I know it's a complex question.
Mm-hmm. And what I would like to say, to just go ahead and make this a completely dead horse, Jennifer, for any type of certification, always know the rules of engagement for use of that certification. But at this point, what you can leverage that is as effective, if not more so right now, is your woman-owned small business status, as well as your veteran-owned small business status. So those are direct award opportunities that you could potentially leverage as well. Depending on your NAICS code, and this is for anyone on the panel that is a woman, the SBA has over 700, nearly 800 NAICS codes now that they have identified as underrepresented as relates to by women. Years ago, it was stuck at a couple of hundred, but now it's almost 800. And what those does, and what they have, the woman-owned small business and the economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. And so when you look at those NAICS codes. If that's a NAICS code, is your business. Now what you're able to do from an outreach and engagement perspective, along with you being capable and having the capacity to do what it is that the government has need of, now that's your lead in. That's your introductory to you as to, hey, how I can answer and, treat that headache that you're having. I have the right kind of medicine, and it's a holistic post. You have to pop another pill. And so that is how you leverage that to the government. But with the 8A, like they said, there's a business strategy perspective, but always be mindful of what's the cap as it relates to what you can be worth in order for you to get in it, because you can also outgrow the capability of the to be even in the program. So always be mindful. What are the rules of engagements for getting any kind of certification, but more specifically 8A, because it is tied to your status or your wealth, for lack of a better term or terminology.
Right. And that's why I haven't even tried pulling the trigger on that.
But now you're not. But if you are a startup right now, the likelihood of the SBA giving you 8A status is real nil, because you have nothing to show that you can leverage your
woman on
from the government perspective as to your capability and wherewithal and ability to run a business. But now at this point, you don't have standing. So give yourself a year or two, if not 3 or 4, and then reassess it from that perspective. But to Coach and everyone else's point, you need to get some grass under your feet before you jump out there and get it. And people do push it too quickly, and they use it as a way to have y'all following them and doing whatever, spending money. So just read for yourself. It's out there on SBA.gov with the rules of engagement, or understand that. But right now, it's too early for 8A to be a topic for you right now, and just give yourself a few more years.
Well, I appreciate that, and really answered a lot of the questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Jennifer, and I hope you'll come back. There's a lot of wisdom on this, and we give it to you straight. And I encourage people to trust but verify everything that we've said. I put on LinkedIn Live, I put the link to the woman-owned underutilized NAICS codes. What that does is allow a contracting officer to do a direct award if they have an opportunity to do so based on the fact that women are underutilized in that particular NAICS code. Benny, hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? Good to be here. I saw Coach Jean post on Instagram. So I said, I'm in this space now. I've decided to pivot into some new things, and this is one of them that I have been on the journey of. So I am an executive coach, a speaker coach. I also focus on organizational leadership and development, and I've spent a good amount of time working with some small to medium-sized businesses as well as some entrepreneurs. And I have an amazing friend who said, Benny, it's time for you to go into government contracting. And I think I got a little bit of a taste. I've secured 2 corporate contracts, and I like the consistency. So I like the consistency. I like it. I really do. And so I'm in the process of, I'm in the very early stages right now. And I think my question would be is, I'm focusing on getting my minority business enterprise and submitting all that stuff for probably by the end of this week. I'll have everything submitted, did all the documentations that we need. I'm also in the process of wanting to become minority business. I guess there's some certifications that you have to get with SBA as well. So I've set those meetings up as well. So just any advice. I know for me, one thing that's going to be important, and I was challenged by this by my friend who was also an ICF coach, and she says, Benny, she would all love. She said, Benny, you have the wrong coach. I said, what do you mean? She said, you got the wrong coach. She says, why? She goes, because you're asking me these questions, and they should be answering them for you if this is the direction you want to go in.
Wow.
And so I appreciate that. Again, I've been a coach for over 13 years, done the training, and it was good to hear somebody tell me that. So I'm looking for those, if you have programs for me to check out, and really looking for somebody who is not afraid to coach and mentor, because this is a space that I see myself moving in. I want to move from just a entrepreneurial, we've done 6 figures, to something where we're really going after the dollars out there, but also representing, minority businesses. As a Hispanic male, don't see too many of us out there. And I'm saying, well, we need some representation there as well. So
Benny, tell me, what are you selling? What are the corporate companies buying from you? Just so I understand.
So they're buying 2 things right now. They're buying my executive coaching for C-level executives, and then our leadership development for their senior managers and their teams. And what I'm finding is a niche right now, or at least an area of those that are 3 to 4 years old right now, these newer companies that don't have your traditional setup, but really value coaching and really value it from the leadership perspective. And so that's where I felt like I needed to just kind of get my feet. But I know I've been brought in on other projects. I've been brought on Google. Google brought me in on a project. MasterCard brought me in on a project. So I've had like a little taste. I've been like sampling, and now it's time for me to get a bigger platter. So
cool, awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question, Benny. Are you trying to offer like mentorship, business development, technical assistance to companies, like minority companies, or are you trying to offer the same service that you already had, which is like executive coaching to government customers?
Exactly. We're doing leadership development, executive coaching, and then coming in and doing the training as well. So it's a little bit of all 3. What I'm finding to be a sweet spot is and I know there's a lot of companies and a lot of organizations and businesses that do training. I think the training is great with the information, but I think the coaching is better with the implementation. And so one thing that we've done is I put together some packages that we're revising right now that bring the element of coaching and training together, so that leaders are not only just getting the information, but that there's a layer of accountability, especially in today's workforce. And so we want to improve that. Yep.
So thank you. So to clarify, is your customer base primarily the government or government contract firms, like small businesses that are trying to do business with the government?
It's been that, right? It's been that with these last 2 companies that I've secured. They're the ones who get the contract, then they're hiring me. But I'd love to go after the ones, some of the government opportunities as well.
Okay, I'll give you some advice. One, for business development and capture, you're probably not going to meet many people that are willing to teach you that as just like a mentorship, because it's a service and it's a lucrative service in this industry. But there are resources out there, and a lot of people that are doing it that know what they're doing. They've either own the company and, they learn that way, or they do this as a service and they've been in the industry. So if you're going to offer it as a service, I would recommend that you try to attend events, do research about what the landscape looks like. For example, I attended a meeting earlier with some California county officials, and they were talking about this exact thing around technical assistance. Some companies are offering the technical assistance, but I would say just for the importance of compliance for the businesses you're servicing, to learn the industry and know the regulations and the rules of engagement, because you don't want to just jump into business development and capture you don't know that, because you could be putting yourself or the companies at risk. So I would say just try to make sure you're learning the industry's rules of engagement, what the industry needs as far as what are government looking for in their small businesses, and what are the deficiencies, so that you can position your companies, to be successful. Because many people are offering coaching and business development services, and unfortunately, a lot of companies are not gaining traction or becoming successful because those providers do not know enough about the industry. So I would just say start with educate yourself, so that you can make that impact and not only just sell a service, but make sure your customers are successful in the space. There are people who offer business development services that do training, but it will probably be rare where they're just going to be willing to train you without, it being some type of sales.
Now, would you say business development is in the same space as leadership development? I'm just trying to understand the language here.
Yeah, so if you're training business, that's why I was trying to get clarification. So are you're training businesses as in to lead their company?
No,
or to do government contracts?
No, what I'm doing, so I don't know how that got mixed up, but I definitely want to clarify that. What I'm doing is I'm an executive leadership coach. That's what I focus. Yeah. So what we do is we work with our C-level executives. We help them to lead efficiently. We help them to strategize. We come in and they say, hey, we need X, Y, and Z training for our team members. We provide that. So in that sense, that's how we're helping them. Now, I am working with 2 companies in Atlanta that are in the energy and the power space. They have contract with Georgia Power and Southern Company, and they've just contracted me out. The company has to provide that leadership development for them. So I know they're going after that stuff, but that's not what I'm coaching them on. I'm working with their teams. Yeah.
Okay, so you're working with them just on leadership training. I just wanted to make sure, because if you're offering them anything around their procurement, I will make sure that I understand the rules of engagement. But if you're just offering them executive coaching, leadership training, yes, that's a service that you can offer to industry or government, because you already said you have the past performance. But for someone to show you the ropes, if you were trying to learn government contracting, I know that would be someone training, consulting, or another company, business development capture. You would have to pay for those services most likely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 8:18 and we're going to shut it down at 8:30. So we have one more guest. Thank you, Benny. I hope it won't be the last time. I think we're clear that Benny's going to be providing leadership and executive coaching as his service. He's just trying to determine whether he's going to do that on the corporate or on the government side. Or what Shenell was saying is that you could also coach small business owners and help them with their executive coaching. And I think one of the things that's really important is just to pick a niche and start there, and then you can go wider, bigger. Let's say you wanted to do energy. That means you're doing energy in corporate and possibly energy, small businesses who are in energy, just for an example. But I do want to let Julian, who has been so patiently waiting, have an opportunity to ask his questions before we do some last comments from our panel, and then we're going to close it on down.
Hello, everyone. Thank you.
Hey, Julian.
Hi. Nice panel tonight. Really like it. I'll make this short and quick. My company is demystifying. I'm a contractor, but came from the product development world. However, I'm kind of new in the space, so I wanted to know about like the consultant part of it. So I know, like, as Dr. Travis Davis says, follow the money, etc. I'm trying to figure out, like, why would a prime contractor need a subcontractor? And as far as when you're looking for contracting opportunities, like, is it like a shortage of subcontractors and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much my question.
I want to give Lori an opportunity to jump in, and then anybody else, Dr. Travis, or somebody who hasn't spoken yet.
Julian, you wanted to know why a prime would want a subcontractor or need a subcontractor?
Yes. Like you said, I know you have to get some like grass under your feet as far as like being a subcontractor. Like if you was to enter into that any type of niche, but why would a prime contractor? Like, I know, what are the like real benefits for a prime? Like, do they really need like subs? I know it's like kind of like mandatory, but do you really like? Is it hard to find subs?
Well, in some occurrences, yes. And aside from whether or not they need it, depending on the type of requirement they have, if it was unrestricted and unrestricted meaning it wasn't set aside, and the sub and it's at a certain dollar value, the government is required to add the requirement for small business participation in there. So contractors, and then there's a certain percentage, and the government will specify what those goals are in that requirement. So they're required to go out and elicit opportunities to share that wealth, because at the end of the day, people always have to be mindful, regardless of who the government execute a contract with and for how much. Government contract was brought about to advocate small business to keep our economy going. So as a way to ensure that the small business communities are still able to actively be engaged in all types of contracts, regardless of who they execute them to, small business participation requirements compel that contractor or that prime vendor to go out and source and provide to the government who they're going to be outreaching with and who's going to be supporting them on that requirement. Without you being the one that's accountable to the government, but you can observe how that interaction goes. So it just becomes just a great place to start off on when you don't have the resources, the capability, or the capacity to go prime alone. Subcontracting is a great opportunity for you to do that. So whomever have not gone out to Subnet, that's a website there you can get through SBA, and created your capabilities profile out there. I encourage you to do so, because large businesses do go there looking for subcontractors to be able to fulfill their goals and their contract obligations. So,
if I can add a little touch on top of that to his question about do primes need it. Yeah, they do, and I don't know what specific industry niche you're in. I would say from a relationship standpoint, and Lori, that was you can just snippet that little piece audio and almost replay it in your mind every day. Everybody should in the audience. Every procurement, every meeting that I go to, let's say in the city of Houston, these prime contractors, yes, they'll always state that there's a certain MBE percentage they're trying to attain, and or the prime may have a $500 million development, right? There's multiple NAICS within that project that makes up the entire project. So one prime contractor won't totally exhaust every project that's out there. So when we're looking at who is my target audience, Who's the customer that my goods, your goods, Julius? Who am I serving? Like, who am I selling my goods services to? And you want to start entertaining those sectors in the market, but also see from a global, more 50,000 square foot view, economically, what projects are going on that are capital improvement projects. Y'all should Google. I'm not sure if it's my mic. What? It's crackling. My Google CIP, capital improvement projects, in your area. Every state has them, every city has them, and those are those larger infrastructure projects, but those capital improvement projects, you'll start to see who's doing what and what prime contractors are where. And then when you look at those breakdowns, especially those pre-bid meetings, attending those meetings, attending those procurement summits, attending those Chamber of Commerce meetings, etc., those economic development meetings will show you what the city and the state and even on the federal level, what are they doing? How is this project broken down, and where do you fit in? And you'll find that, you know what, I got a lot of good subs. I come in, do my thing, check in, check out. And now, like Laura said, you see the landscape of things. Now, who is the one that's benefiting from know, like, and trust? Those primes know you now. And you're a good partner with them in an area where you are a subject matter expert that they rely on to build and grow with. So now you got a partner there. So is there a project that maybe you would spearhead on your own if it's in your next? Yes, that is potentially the case. Me personally, I've been at this 17 years. I don't want to prime. That's it. Not at all. Now, yes, I have contracts that I prime, if you will. I'm a solo owner, as my company will do. If I'm teaching to prep your A&M, for example, or if I'm doing other things of that nature, that's fine because it's totally BD or whatever, and I'm good with that. But for you, to answer your question, do primes look for subs? Yes. But what they look for, and then talking about capacity and capability, they're not always looking for the cheapest price. They're looking for the best partner to work this project in the long term. That's what they look for. And the reason why I think a lot of our questions come up, and I will land here, we're not in the rooms where these projects are being broken down. And I would advise everyone in this room, at the sound of my voice here and all of us here speaking, take it from LinkedIn and go to these procurement meetings, the Zoom calls, etc., and getting those tips. More often than not, you'll start getting an understanding of how this works. And now we come back to, hey, I heard such and such. How would you physically advise me to do this? And now you can book a consultation with myself, Laura, Travis, and we can help you further along that road. So I hope that helped. But do they need them? Yeah. Just make sure when you walk in the room, you are capable to do the task at hand, and you will be surprised how much room you have to move in this thing we call government contracting. Thank you.
No, thanks. So in the chat on LinkedIn Live, I put the links to the NAICS, the Women Underutilized NAICS codes. I put a link to capital improvement projects, kind of a 101 on that. It's 8:27. Did you want to give your last words, Shenell? And then we're going to close on out.
Yeah,
60 seconds, please.
Yeah. Just to piggyback on what Coach said, yes, primes need subs. I only sub. I rather sub. Sometimes the sub is who the customer wants. So you may be the SME or expert that the customer want, and that's why your prime wins the bid or keep the work, expand the work. You may have a specialized service. Some, like Coach said, some of the contracts are so large that the prime may not know how to do your work. So yes, they need subs, and then sometimes the procurement, like Lori said, it requires for them to have subcontractors.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we go and get some closeout words from some other folks on the stage, these amazing, generous folks. I mean, you just won't get this anywhere. I know I might be partial, but I'm just saying, you're not going to get this anywhere. So I hope that you'll join us next week, every Wednesday from 7. It's supposed to be from 7 to 8. Y'all see we at 8:30. So, I appreciate it. But can you give them some reaction, some love on tonight? And if you found this valuable, please post it on show some social capital. That's the way you repay us for all of the great knowledge and insight that you got tonight, is to share your social capital. Also connect with people above, below you, beside you, please. And, reach out and follow all these amazing folks on the stage. So want to thank Jennifer, Lakiba, Julian. Tanisha, you didn't say nothing, girl. I forgot you were there. Come on. Did you speak?
No, it's fine. Hey, GI,
hey.
Have writing coaching experts. How's everybody doing? My name is Tanisha Langley. I'm an education consultant here in Greenville, North Carolina. And my niche basically is to work with educational companies, schools, districts, anybody that partner with educational organizations to provide evidence-based strategies to improve culture. So I just want to say very quickly, I know we're getting ready to go out of here, but a lot of the advice and strategies and tips that you guys are giving. Number one, I've been doing a lot of networking as kind of suggested by one of your former experts, I think Lisa.
Oh, she's not former. She's just not here tonight.
Okay, yeah. So I'm doing in this Q2 season, doing a lot of networking, and I remember a lot of things that you guys are saying, especially UGI, about government people are people too. And I've been talking to, I've been in some spaces and places right here recently, and I kept that in the back of my mind that they are people too. And to just stick with what my capabilities are, and and how I show up. I remember, I think a while ago, Lori was expressing that sometimes in our written language we come off one way, but then when they meet us, it's something different. So I was very mindful to make sure that my personality was who it was, and that the government people are people too. So I just want to say thank you for this platform. I pay it forward with people that are asking for help and information. I make sure that I give you guys information. And when I am ready to move on in various aspects, this is where I am coming. I'm going to get my plate with where I am fed. So thank you so very much, GI, and all the experts that are here, and for your demystifying government contract, and then not making it so scary for people like myself.
Thank you so much. Lori, I asked Shenell to come back. Let's see if she'll come back. I think she got kicked out. What's your closing words? Tanisha, always appreciate, a teacher, you want to become a favorite student, let the teacher know that you got the lesson, that you're implementing what they are teaching, and that you are not keeping it to yourself. So thank you so much. Hey, come on, Lori.
Well, again, thank you so much for yet another great opportunity. The freestyle, really works for us.
It does. It does, don't it?
Great conversation. That people did find value in it, and as you always say, and as we always communicate, trust, but verify. There should be nothing that was communicated that we cannot go verify on the website, and that's why we give you those websites for you to go have a frame of reference. But a lot of great information. If anyone wants to reach out to me, didn't get a question answered that you still want answered, just reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll respond to your questions without a problem. Talk to you later.
Thank you, sister. Hey, Shenell, go ahead, and then we're gonna roll to Dr. D and Travis.
This piece of advice is to get out now and try to not just network, but build a relationship with your prospective customer. And then also build relationships with other businesses, because you'll get access to many opportunities, not only through the government customer directly, but just meeting other people in the industry. So just network. And you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any further questions. Thank you for attending.
Awesome. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Who else? Who we got? Dr. D, you ready? And then Coach? Or either Coach or Dr. D, whoever wants to jump in.
Sure, I'll go ahead. You said Dr. D and Travis. I was about to say,
Oh, Dr. D and Coach. Sorry, you the same person. You just that bad that you man, it's two of y'all, man. I'm just saying.
I appreciate you, GI, and I appreciate everybody for coming out here to listen and receive this information. It's all about taking action now. You can sit back all day and take notes, but notes ain't going to get you nowhere. You got to be willing to take the action so you can learn this information. I will also state real quick, I actually don't take the approach that, they need small businesses and whatnot. They do need small businesses, but they don't need you. They were making millions of dollars. You know, if you're making millions of dollars, they don't need anything that you have to offer. They've already got it covered. So if you come in with that approach, chances are that you're going to lose. Instead, you got to make yourself needed. Is how I come with that approach. But anyways, if you guys want to learn more about government contracting, I got tons and tons and tons of videos on YouTube. All you got to do is go over there, put my name, Travis Davidson. You can start consuming tons of information. I'm here for the minority business owner just getting started. And I did create some AI software that help that minority business owner as well. And I'll park my Tesla. Thanks for the eye.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Coach, come on, Bank Ready.
Yeah, that's my AI twin over there. BankReady.ai is going to be dropping any day now. And I really do follow Travis' coattails. I do not feel bad saying it. My brother's a trailblazer, and speaking at his workshop in DC was great. And just being in his presence, he's definitely a real one, and I learned a lot from him. And I'll say that as my point of words: learn from someone that's in the industry. I would say take a high level of humility and say, here's where I'm trying to go, and sit back, and whatever they tell you to do, do it. Well, I don't think, no, it's not for you to think. It's for you to listen, follow those specific directions, because if you're an expert in this field, and all of us here are, we still learn. I'm still learning. So you are understanding who you are there to serve. Travis said it so greatly. He said it's spot on. They've been making this money without you. And when you get in these rooms, you will hear that arrogance in the air. Don't get in your feelings. Just create value. And when they understand that you're there about your business, you're there about to make this money too, and you can make it with them, and they understand your value, and you come with a good, strong capability, not stable, but capabilities that you can put on the table, and let's go to work, you'll find yourself very fruitful in this thing called government contracting. But please walk in this thing with humility, teamwork, listen, learn, and execute. I'll leave it there.
Love it. Love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am always grateful, thankful that you would spend this time with us. And y'all spent, my Lord, an hour and a half. Many apologies to LinkedIn Live, Facebook, and YouTube and Twitter for the first 45 minutes not having any audio. Just chalk it up to operator error, and I appreciate your patience, but you can always look in the notes. I put many of the resources that we were discussing in so it'll show up on my profile or on the video. We've been talking about subcontracting, teaming, partnering as a tool to increase our capability, increase our business capacity, and how important it is to understand what you want and what you serve and what does a win look like, because it's too easy for us to be so excited to do business with somebody that we end up contract rich and cash poor. And we don't want that, because that means no money is, we're not making any revenue. So I thank you for joining us. I hope you'll be back with us from 7 to 8 next week, Eastern Standard Time. Tell somebody, bring 3 people, and let's get after it. I want to say, may God continue to enlarge your territory. May he increase your influence, and may he 10x your business profits this year. May he bless you indeed. May he keep you from evil and keep evil from you. With that, I'm going to say I'm GI, God inspired to help women, veteran entrepreneurs, and a few good men. It's been my pleasure. Good night. And thank you so much to all our amazing panelists. Please reach out and connect with them, and they're so generous. Appreciate it. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, LinkedIn. Appreciate you all joining LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll see you next week.